Hey guys, here's some verses here in Romans chapter 12. I'll start with verse 9. It says, "And let love be without hypocrisy." What that means is the Greek word is hypokrisis, and it means hiding behind a mask. And in ancient Greece, where they had the amphitheaters and they would have plays and productions, the actors, you may have seen that smiling mask and the frowning mask in the associated with live performance. And they would actually operate behind a mask because they didn't have, of course, plasma screens and that kind of thing. They didn't have sound systems, so they had to really speak loud. They built their amphitheaters where they could be heard and where they could be seen. But their faces were so small from a distance on those nosebleed seats that they had to get a mask up there, and they'd operate from behind a mask. And what he was telling the church is, lay aside your masks, put down your guards, and be real, keep it real. And he said, let love be without hypocrisy, abhor what is evil, cling to what is good. So walk in honor, walk in love. And I'm going to talk about this continuing, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Hebrews 13:1 says, let the love of the brethren continue. And it says, give preference to one another in honor. Give preference to one another in honor. Honor is such a precious thing. My dad taught me to honor my elders. To show respect. He really drilled down on it. When I was in Boy Scouts in the 1960s, because it was at that point still influenced by the Judeo-Christian values, I think because I didn't go to church except randomly, I got a lot of godly values from that environment, like do a good deed daily, basically, the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And here it says, be devoted to one another in brotherly love, give preference to one another in honor. Now, in my 1995 New American Standard margin, it says the alternate to the Greek would be outdo one another in showing honor. Outdo one another in showing honor. When I was a Boy Scout, hold the door open for people. Help an elderly lady across the street, give her your arm, if she's teetering in a crosswalk. I mean, we literally were trained on this. I remember in Boy Scouts, they let me be a leader, and I had read the Boy Scout handbook, and I packed my backpack with everything that they said you needed. And I would go on these weekend, Friday, Saturday, come back Sunday night. We'd have 2 nights of camping. I had a ground cloth, a sleeping bag, a mess kit. I had a knife. I had a hatchet. And that was heavy. And I mean, my backpack was probably, it weighed almost as much as I did when I was a little kid. And I remember growing up in California, we had mountains. So we would climb these mountains. We're deserts. I remember one time we were in a place called Akatia Wells, and it was 116 degrees. So we packed water and everything. Well, I got wise and I learned to not overpack. So I remember I packed some food. I packed a change of socks and underwear and a sleeping bag and a ground cloth. And we already had tents and stuff. Actually, we shared the tent, like some would carry the stakes and some would carry the tent part, the canvas. Well, so I just really pared down and my pack was lighter and I really enjoyed the experience a whole lot. Well, there was a newer kid, and because I was a leader, this kid was crying because he was so tired and he was under the fatigue of his backpack. And my adult leader looked at my backpack and he picked it up and he picked up his and he said, here, you trade, because I was a leader. And I was like, oh no. So I let him carry him. All I had in my backpack at this point was my sleeping bag. And I think the tent stakes, which were aluminum. And that kid was, that kid was happy, and I was not. But if we outdo one another in showing honor, it will bring honor to the Lord. It'll take selfishness out of our equation, and it'll help us to reload and re-up on the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. God bless you.